Well, on this week's show, folks, there is no mincing of any words. You want to know who Jason Frasor felt was the best umpire in baseball, the worst umpire in baseball, the best stadium to pitch out of, some of his least favorite people to throw to, and his least favorite manager. Wow. There is no holding back when it comes to Jason Frasor on this week's show.
I'll tell you what, if that's the goal of any of these conversations, to get real behind the scenes information about the journey these players have had, Jason Frasor provides that this week for our viewers, for our listeners. Get ready for a world when you're about to learn a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't know before.
Not everybody is going to agree with everything that Jason Frasor has to say. I'm going to let you all know that right now. But I'll urge you to listen and make your own decisions on what he has to say. Right?
Deal.
All right.
I think that's probably the best way.
Yeah, exactly. We'll also hear from Raj Sapaya on something that we do not want to happen to anybody. But he's going to talk about a very serious thing that can happen in an injury that could, it's not anything that can really be fixed. So Raj will talk to us about that. And up next, well, no fixing needed in Blue Jay land. Hey, it's only spring training. But all of a sudden, this team is looking like they could be very, really, really, really good this year. Very, really good, Tom. The whole bit?
Very, very.
Really good. There's Tom Forth. I'm Barry Davis. You're listening to Out of the Park.
Play ball!
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, the first pitch with Barry Davis.
And the first pitch brought to you by our good pals from Ballistic Sports, ballisticsports.com, Thomas. And hopefully, we'll have some news. And again, COVID is the main fault here as to why this game is not available. But as Tom describes the game, I'm going to show you the game.
Absolutely. So we've got the baseball board coming up. This is an interactive board game. Think of it like Monopoly meets your favorite sporting event, except instead of just rolling the dice, what you're doing is you're actually trying to guess the action as it's coming up. So based on the accuracy of your guesses, based on how good you can call what's going to happen next, you get to move around this board and defeat your friends while you watch the Blue Jays defeat the American League and National League this year.
Bold prediction, Thomas. Bold prediction. They also have a game for football and one for the NHL as well. Yeah. So ballisticsports.com for all your information as to when you'll be able to pick up this game. All right. I, Thomas, have never been a big believer that spring training stats or results have anything to do with what will happen in the regular season. I've seen the Blue Jays have horrendous spring trainings and go on to have great seasons and vice versa. I've seen individual players tear it up in spring training, especially young players, tear it up in spring training and then come out and not fare very well at all. In fact, back in 2013, I believe, that year, the Blue Jays had 7 rookies make the team out of camp, including Dalton Pompey, who will be on our show next week. Devin Travis will be on in a few weeks. Roberto Osuna was there. And of all these young players, they all made it because of what happened in spring training. But it did not result in success for all of them on the field. Some of them, yes. Some of them, no.
Yep.
But what do you take as a fan perspective, Tom? Are you looking at this spring training that the Blue Jays are having and getting pumped up because you think this is going to carry on?
I'm seeing encouraging signs. It is amazing to see Vladdy. We've talked about him on the show and the transformation that he had, and everybody was kind of holding his breath that he wouldn't miss a beat with his new body coming into baseball this year, and he hasn't. I think the last game before this will be aired, he just went 4 for 4, and I think it's the second time in a week he's gone perfect in the game. The offense is looking amazing, but we knew that wasn't really a big question mark. What's very pleasantly surprising is how phenomenal the pitchers have been, and they have been, again, one of those stats out there. I think the team ERA is like 1.49 halfway through spring training or something.
Right. And again, to me, I don't look at that as much of a big deal. But I will say this. I would much rather see Robbie Ray and Thomas Hatch and Ryu and whoever else is going to be in that rotation. I'd rather see them all throw the ball well, find the zone, feel some confidence going into the regular season than being a complete mess.
Bingo. Yeah, and that's what's great to see, because you're right. We could run the table in spring training, and that means nothing come the start of the season. But as a fan, I mean, we're not able to witness and enjoy these games as much as we want. But hearing all the good news coming out, it's a lift that everybody needs right now. And I'm going to go ahead and say I'm cautiously optimistic. The pitching still is a question mark, but I think it's hard to complain about first results, and it's hard to not feel a little bit excited for the start of the season.
Well, speaking of, Tom, Alek Manoah has had a phenomenal start to his spring training, so much so that there are many fans saying Manoah needs to start the season with the Toronto Blue Jays. I understand, and we go through this every year. A young prospect is going to have a big camp, and everyone's going to say this guy needs to be up in the majors right now. Getting batters out in spring training and getting batters out in double A or single A ball does not mean that you're ready to pitch in the major leagues, especially in this position of being a potential starter. You need to work your way. I need to see this guy pitch in double A, triple A. I want to see what he can do. And a lot of times, the batters that they face in double A are going to be even tougher than the ones they face in triple A. And here's why, Tom. Double A is full of prospects that are young, hungry, and trying to make it to the big leagues. You will find some of them in AAA, but AAA is also guys that have been sent down because they're not performing in the big leagues, or guys that are at the end of their careers and they're trying for one last shot. So you will see a lot more of what Manoah is made of when he pitches in AA.
Yeah, I think this is again, it's one of those things where overexcited fans, I think maybe are jumping to conclusions a little bit. I'm seeing stories about how he's replaced Nate Pearson as the number one prospect now on the basis of a decent start, a great start for spring training. But you're absolutely right. How many pitchers have come up too early and had their confidence shattered? And we're not going into this with a locked and loaded bullpen and starting rotation. We're not. But I still don't think that's a great idea to use as an excuse to rush the development of someone who could be really special.
Right. And they do have some young pitchers that will be on the staff, right? Jordan Romano will be there. Ryan Baracki is probably going to be on the team. You've got Julian Merriweather, who will likely be with the team. Tim Meza. And I know that Trent Thornton made his debut on Friday, his season debut. He had a surgery in the offseason, and he looked really good. Now, it's only 2 innings, but he struck out 4 in his 2 innings. So that's pretty impressive, too. So I'm happy with what I've seen so far from spring training. The record's 10-7. So, I mean, again, the results of the game are completely meaningless because those who start the game are out of the game, after a few innings. I will say this. I'm really, really happy for Jonathan Davis. Jonathan Davis, who's a great guy. He's been on the show before, been waiting for an opportunity. And he, this year, is in a very similar situation to what his brother-in-law, Anthony Alford, was in last year, in that this is your chance. You're either going to make it or this is not going to be the place for you. I would not be surprised to see Jonathan Davis in the outfield as an extra 4th outfielder on the team this year.
Wow, really? That's a bold prediction there, because they've got a lot of, it would be a great feel-good story, right?
Well, there's some that are saying, and you see it on social media, that maybe it's time to, trade Randall Grichuk. But here's the problem with trading Randall Grichuk. Randall Grichuk makes a crap load of money. And trading away a crap load of money is not an easy thing to do. So I don't think that trading Randall Grichuk is going to happen. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. The Blue Jays managed to trade Vernon Wells many years ago with that contract.
We should have asked Alex Anthopoulos about it when we had him on the other week. See if he had any ideas for how Toronto could maybe move Grichuk, and we could have passed it on to. Yeah, well, missed opportunity.
By the way, if you missed the Alex Anthopoulos conversation, we are now up on YouTube as well as SoundCloud every week. So we now have the option of you watching the show or listening to the show. And judging by the number of people that are watching the show already, Tom, we've brought on a lot of new listeners and new followers for Out of the Park. So if you are new to the program, thank you so much for being a part of it. And check out the YouTube page. Please hit subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, and it just makes us feel good that you're subscribing.
Exactly. Right. And if you want to be really generous, smash that like button.
Yes, exactly. And if you would like to be involved in the Zoom conversations like the one you will soon see and hear with Jason Frasor, Tom, how would someone go about doing that? Because we get people very excited about all these Zooms we're doing. We're going to be chatting with Michael Saunders next week, and we've got a lot of interest in being a part of that Zoom chat as well. So how can people get involved?
Well, the easiest and quickest way is to support us at patreon.com/outofthepark. Couple bucks a month, cup of coffee, and you get to take part in any of these conversations with, Blue Jays past and present. It's the best deal right now in sports media. I'm going to say boldly in Canada. You can actually join the team, ask questions of the players yourselves. And, barring that, search us out on social media, Twitter or Instagram. You can find Out of the Park as well. Send us a message, and we'd love to get as many people as we can in on these conversations because they're really special.
Right now, they're real intimate. I mean, we're only allowing between 2 and 5 people on for each one, but we will never turn someone down. If someone wants, it won't be a situation like with getting your cardboard cutout sign. I've heard season ticket holders talk about this. We're not going to say sorry. We're full up. We can't have you in. We'll have you in. If you want to be a part of the Zoom, if you want to become an OTP insider, we'll let you in on these Zooms, and you'll be able to fire your questions.
Foundation Physiotherapy presents The Medical Room.
Joined once again by our good pal, Raj Sapaya from Foundation Physiotherapy. You like how I always refer to you as our pal? It's not like our friend, our resident expert. He's our pal. Raj is your pal.
I'm your pal. I'm your expert pal.
Your expert pal. And practicing in 4 locations, Raj Sapaya, 3 in person, 1 virtual. Tell our viewers and listeners how they can find you.
Yeah, so we have 3 locations in downtown Toronto or across Toronto. You can check us out online, foundationphysio.com. As well, we also have a virtual clinic. So for anybody who feels like the commute might be a little bit tough, or still not sure about the COVID, environment out there, virtual is a great option to talk to a physiotherapist just to understand your injury. So check us out, foundationphysio.com.
Raj, a few weeks ago, we were talking about the injuries that Tiger Woods sustained. And one of the things that they were saying, thankfully, he did not suffer any paralysis. He will regain feeling in the parts of his body. And it made me think of what exactly has to happen in the body for one to become paralyzed.
So there's to be paralyzed, that's going to be a pretty significant injury. So we have to think about our brain. And then coming out of our brain is our spinal cord. It comes down, and that's the biggest set of nerves and neurons. That's where our body, our brain contains all the thought processes, and it goes down that spinal cord. Then from the spinal cord, we have the nerves that come out of the spinal cord to the rest of our limbs and our legs and things like that. And we have our spine, the little vertebrae in our back. The spine protects the spinal cord. That's the purpose of that spine, right? So in that spine, the spinal cord sits. So imagine of our spine bone kind of just looking like a round rod, and inside that rod is the spinal cord. So it's protected all the way around by bone. Okay. In order for us to get a paralysis, we're likely going to be, there's going to have to be a major injury that's going to sever the spinal cord or significantly irritate the spinal cord. That would typically happen with a fracture to your vertebrae in which the spinal cord is injured. and then every segment below that area of injury gets paralyzed.
Now, yeah, it's funny. I like the distinction there between the broken bones and the broken spinal column,
Yep.
right? Because it is possible, or actually, is it possible to break your neck or break your back, but not sever or suffer any paralysis at all?
Oh, 100%. In fact, more people are going to like break their back or break a vertebrae or get a fracture in their spine without suffering paralysis. They might suffer like a temporary kind of numbness because the nerve in the spinal cord has been irritated. But when there has been a significant, like it has to be a significant injury that's going to break through the bone and through the spinal cord, in which then the areas below that rupture will be paralyzed. And what we call quadriplegic, a person who's quadriplegic is someone who suffers that kind of injury at the neck level. So then everything below the neck will be their arms and their legs. And then, somebody who's tetraplegic will lose 3 limbs, and someone who's hemiplegic will lose both limbs on one side, and someone who's paraplegic will probably lose everything below kind of the lower back level, which the legs are gone.
Advancements made in medicine, and whether it be different massage treatments, physio treatments, is there any hope, or is there any advancements being made to be able to somehow bring that feeling back into a person who's lost it?
Oh, no. Unfortunately, Barry, when the spinal cord is severed, the spinal cord is severed. That there might be an emergency surgery in which they'll certainly try to recover what can be recovered, but typically at that point, we are helping our patients, and this is an area that's kind of outside my scope because I work in sports injuries and orthopedics, so I don't really see patients in that kind of realm. But my colleagues that work in that world, I truly admire the kind of patients they work with, because it's a lot of hard work. But a lot of it, Barry, is teaching people, giving people quality of life, how to move and how to utilize, how to go through day-to-day life, given the limbs they can use or given the mobility they do have. So they might be taught how to use a wheelchair. They might be taught how to, use their opposite arm if one side is paralyzed. They'll have to be retaught certain things. So it's very different from what we do in sports injuries when we're trying to regain function. In the neurological side, we might be trying to teach new function.
Jason Frasor is in here in the 6th.
This is his first appearance in the ALCS for Frasor, again in this game.
Adam Jones into foul territory. Moustakis, did he make that catch? He did! Fly ball right field. Aoki has a beat on it.
From his home in Florida. Okay, do you still have like any of your uniforms that you had from teams that you played in the past, or do you, like, when you get traded or DFA'd or whatever, do you have to like hand them back?
No. I think I have. Well, the older I got, the more uniforms that they fitted us with. I mean, there was an alternate. There was, the Sunday. There was, if you're playing a team from the National League, if you're playing a team that has 3 Japanese players, you had a different jersey. There was always a different jersey. So I have, I would say 25.
Wow. But were you allowed to take them, or did you have, because I've talked to some of the clubbies, and they kind of say that it's kind of frowned upon once a player is dealt or leaves the organization to take all of their equipment, their jerseys.
I mean, my gosh, I was there for 10 years. I mean, if I jersey, I should be able to keep a jersey.
I would bet. By the way,
you know what? Sometimes you just start stealing things. You steal a chair.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right. You just stealing things. You just something like a bench from the bullpen.
See what I got? See?
That's it.
By the way, speaking of jerseys, I don't know if you see the shirt that I'm wearing. Do you see this shirt?
2014.
Do you know the significance of this shirt?
What city is that?
You gave me this shirt.
Where was
Okay.
the?
Must have been in Kansas City. I mean, you never played in it, right? As far as I know.
No, I really got screwed that year.
Yeah. Okay. So
The Royals.
so the Royals go to the postseason, right? After the game, you guys ended up winning and you were advancing to the World Series. I go in the Kansas City Royals clubhouse, Tom, because I'm scheduled. That's my job. I'm covering them. I go in there and I see John Buck. I see you. I see Downsy.
Yep.
And I just get drenched. Like they go after me because, none of the media wants to talk to any of them. Only me, right? So I get soaked. I'm just so drenched, and I'm like, Jason, it's cold outside. I don't have anything to wear. And you went back into the clubhouse and you got me this shirt. I don't know if it was new, or if you took it out of somebody's locker or whatever the case may be. But I still have it to this day, and I thought I'd wear this just to show you that I still have it.
I took it out of the good player's locker, probably.
Yeah, you don't have any memory of that at all, do you?
Of giving you that shirt? No.
Oh.
Why were you there? Why were you covering the Kansas City Royals?
Because back in those days, Sportsnet actually wanted to cover baseball. That's a shot. And because Sportsnet was the Canadian rights holders for the postseason, they had to have a pre- and post-game show for every game. So wherever the postseason was, whether the Jays were in it or not, I'd be covering it. And I covered it then. Tom, would you like to join the conversation?
Hi guys, how's everybody? You know what? I've been so distracted by that just massive amount of hardware there on the hand. It's funny. I remember watching an interview with you at one point in time talking about that series, Toronto and Kansas City, where Casey came out on top, and you said you've been an active cheerer for Kansas City because if they won, you could be in line for that ring. So to see it on your hand, I got to ask, is it comfortable to wear?
No, buddy. I show it to people, but I've never worn it. And this is probably the first time that I've even looked at it. In a long time. I know the Blue Jays haven't won anything in a long time, but have you ever heard the ring etiquette? Have you ever heard about the ring etiquette? I was told this by Mr. Ryan Madsen, who won a World Series with the Phillies, and what is that? 08 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? 08?
That makes sense. Yep. Phillies 08. Yep.
Okay, so we were teammates. The next year, he went on to actually be on the team in 15 and earn the ring. But he was like, he said when he won the World Series, the Phillies, they told him, okay, you get the ring. The first year, you can wear it whenever you want. You can wear it to Chipotle. You can wear it to Subway. You can wear it any occasion you want. The second year, special occasions only, which means, I don't know, a fancy dinner or a Christmas party. And then you have to put it away until year 10.
So you're breaking the rules is what you're saying right now.
No, it's still in his house, right?
The rules, exactly. Have you ever heard that?
Never. I thought you were going to talk about, who gets rings and who doesn't get rings. And I remember when the Cubs won the World Series, Munenori Kawasaki got a ring.
And he
may have played a dozen games for them that year.
When you win a World Series once every 100 years, I mean, you just throw it out there.
I wonder if they had those rules all along, or because I went to Cooperstown a couple of years ago, and they have all the World Series rings like through the years. And in and around 2000, something kind of starts to happen. And by the time you get up to the present day rings, like they're not rings anymore; they're like toasters. or like little like. So maybe they had to limit like wear for like to prevent injuries for players. They were going around with those things on their hands all the time.
I don't know.
Would you punch somebody with that ring?
What'd you call me?
I said, would you punch? What did you call me? What are you, a New Yorker now?
Would you call me, man? Would you call me? Would you say?
Cuomo. I'm Cuomo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting
already.
Hard week.
Yeah.
Exactly. Phrase, I know we probably have talked about this before, but, back in that year, you and Downsy, you were both nearing the latter stages of your careers. You weren't playing at the capacity you normally would have played. What was it like to be at that stage of your career and having the opportunity to see the team that you're with go as far as you are, to the point where you have a World Series ring? Does it still feel good? Does it have that same? I know it's kind of hard to compare, but would it feel a lot different for you had you been playing with the team at that time?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know what the question is. Just asked me. But you know what?
Does it feel any different that you weren't on the team and you got a ring? Like, you were there for a while, but
Yeah, I have a runner-up, one that's all silver in 2014, the one that where I saw you, and that meant so much more to me, because I lost. Even though I lost like part of the active roster. And you know what, Barry? I was twice the pitcher when I retired. I was twice the pitcher when I retired.
I wanted to ask about that because your ERA just started going down. And
it was
we talked.
It was all right here. I learned so much throughout the years, and I just stopped worrying about everything and about what everybody thought. And I didn't have to throw my fastball 95 every pitch. And I couldn't. I just physically couldn't. I was twice the pitcher in 2014, 15 that I was in 2006, 7, 8. But it was so hard to get up and get ready and and be prepared for 6 straight months and go to spring training. And then eventually no one wanted me on their team. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll go home. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Seeing the situation that you're in now in your life, you've got 2 wonderful kids and your wife, and you got a new dog in the family now too.
How did you know that?
I could hear it.
Yeah.
I'm psychic. But did you feel okay? This is the right time. Some people, their careers end and they're absolutely shattered. They don't know what they're going to do. We've talked about this with many former players about the adjustment to life after baseball. How much did it help you to have what you have here at home right now?
The first year I retired was the best year of my life. It was the most fun I've ever had.
What'd you do?
Just my kids were an awesome age. And I cook dinner and hang out. I'm in Florida, and we just built a house, and my son just started playing organized baseball. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And we won 2 games today. No big deal. We're 29-10, our travel ball team. Just a little side note. Year two, when the shine wears off,
and the paychecks stop coming in.
Yeah. But now the wife's like, you're still here, kind of thing. We're all right. But I have a great life, man. It's awesome. We're in the same house, and it's a new dog, and the kids are healthy and happy, and I'm in Florida, got a Republican governor. Everything is good, Barry. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you had to bring the politics into it, didn't you? You had to bring the politics into it.
Is there anything you miss about the game?
The attention, like this stuff, the fact that you're a Major League Baseball player, the attention. I don't miss jumping on those planes and flying through storms because you got to the next city. That was probably the worst part of it for me because I'm not a good turbulence guy. You know, scares me.
Yeah,
scares me. I don't like turbulence.
Yeah,
you know. So, but I like the hotel living. I like going to really nice hotels, and I like going to Major League Baseball stadiums at 2 PM and just sitting there. And I like the spreads. I like. I don't like giving up runs. I was towards the end of my career. I dealt with that a lot better. The failure, and sometimes they're going to score, but the attention is nice. The attention is nice.
Frasor, you mentioned about, it all being in here. And as you got older, you learned, how to control that a lot more. Were you the type of person that had too many voices in your head, too many opinions from whether it be pitching coaches, managers, teammates, everybody kind of telling you what is the best way for you to pitch? And as you got older, you
kind of realize, no,
that's not it. That's not it. It was worrying about what other people thought.
Like the fans, the media, or your colleagues?
Yeah, the GM, the coach, the other coach, what everybody thought, my parents, my dad, my brothers. It's college graduates. College graduates have a lot there's a lot invested. College grad, it's, you went to college, you have family that supports you and all right, you go to the next level, you have people watching. And I always had that in the back of my mind. And once I got out of Toronto, God bless Toronto. I mean, Toronto was great, but I got to breathe when I left Toronto because everybody knew me, and it was hard to change because I felt like I was all right. But once I went to Texas, new coaches, new spring training site, I felt like I could breathe, and it was the best thing that ever happened. And I felt like I don't want to say reinvented because I didn't change much. I exhaled.
A new mindset.
Yes. Mike Maddox was a pitching coach. He is a veteran guy. And if you have a mechanical flaw, he's not your guy. But if you want to know how to get this guy out, loved him. And it was great. I mean, I don't know how else to convey it, Barry, other than say I got to breathe a little bit. Mm-hmm. It was nice to not go and play on the AstroTurf and live on Wellington Street and walk to the stadium. And it was just something new. The grass was greener for me. Oftentimes it's not. It was greener for me.
You mentioned, the voices or what people were thinking about you as being a huge factor. Was there a point?
I worried about everything.
Yeah. Was there a point though in that transition? I mean, you pitched more games than I think any other Blue Jay pitcher.
Uh-huh.
And was there a point in your career where either you stopped worrying about what people were thinking, or you realized that you could stop making those arguments about people thinking bad things, like that you had done enough, that you had accomplished enough, that you'd reached a level? Or did you just learn to not worry about what people were thinking regardless of?
I think it was just so much. I stressed so much. I had, I mean, if I didn't pitch, I was mentally exhausted, right? My God, if I have to go in a pitch, I'm just pitching 3 outs, right? I mean, it shouldn't be so exhausting, but that's just how we're all different. We're all the same, but we're all different, you know? I think it was just so much, I had so much experience that I think I just woke up and was like, I mean, all right, if I do terrible, I still have 8 years in the major leagues, right? You know? So I just, and I was so far removed. I was in Texas now. I was away from my wife's family. I was 1,000 miles from my family. And it was just, I'd had enough of what I had put myself through. And I ended up having a really good time down in Texas. It felt like home. I enjoyed going there.
Oh, it's a beautiful ballpark. The old one. I'm sure the new one's beautiful too.
Yeah, I mean,
Frasor, we used to joke about the amount of time that you would take on the mound between pitches. But something I never asked you, and I'm really curious to know, during that time between pitches, A, did it seem as long to you while you're on the mound as maybe when you watch it? And B, was that a time where a lot of things were going through your head, maybe some that were detrimental to you?
Detrimental, probably. You know, it's not, I'm not like, I don't have like an angel and like the devil on my shoulders out there. I'm not like weird. I'm just like, what should I do? Holy cow. There's 2 outs. Look who's on deck. And when you go through all those thoughts, like, what if I do the, if I give up a run here, my ERA goes above. I mean, you wouldn't believe.
While you're on the mound, these things are going through your head.
Yes.
Jeez.
That's how I was. Like, especially the younger Jason Frasor. But you know what? You know what's funny? If you're going good, no one gives an SHIT how long you take.
If you spell it, you're still saying it, right? So you may as well just say it.
Really? I don't know, because it's canon. So if it's 20 seconds or 35 seconds, if you have a good inning, no one cares.
Right.
Especially your bosses.
Yeah,
no one.
Of course.
But you guys could joke, but when the baseball card comes out the next year and you have a nice ERA, it doesn't tell you time elapsed between pitches.
Did you ever watch someone like a Burley or a Dickey and go, I don't get how they can do this? How do they just get the ball and throw it?
Yeah. Well, Burley, yes. Dickey, I don't know if he was fast or not.
Oh, he was fast. The pitch wasn't fast, but he never wasted time. We had Tolley on the show a couple weeks ago, and he said he never called a single pitch with Dickey. Dickey called the entire game himself.
Well, okay, Dickey. I mean, it's all knuckleballs, isn't it? Basically,
well, yeah. The only caveat was if he put down a sign for a fastball, he couldn't throw a knuckleball. But if the sign was for a knuckleball, he could throw anything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the catcher and going, okay, this could be 80 miles an hour. This could be 50 miles an hour. I have no idea where this is going.
Isn't that tremendous for Tolley to be able to do that? That's tremendous.
Yeah.
The concentration he's got to have.
Yeah.
You know,
you're taking your life in your hands behind the plate with that knuckleball coming at you too.
Yeah. Was Dickey friendly to you guys? I've heard he's kind of a weird guy. He was cool. I have no idea.
You weren't there when he was there?
Never met him.
And Ned Rivers, oh wow. God, that many years ago. He was a different kind of cat. You know, he would give you deep answers and such, but yeah, he wasn't going to go out and hang out with you. And I said this to Tolley too. He was kind of a loner in the clubhouse. He was an older guy, and with the rest of them, you know, maybe he just didn't relate to them a certain way. But, you know, the guy had something he could use, and he made a lot out of it. So, I mean good for him for doing that, right?
Yeah.
So Frase, what we like to do here on this show is we have a little feature with our guests, and it's called what was going through your mind when this picture was taken?
When this picture,
when this picture was taken. So we've got a few shots of you, and we're going to get to them right away, and we'll find out. First of all, this picture right here, I have a few things on what could be going through your mind, like, holy crap, this guy just hit a bomb off me, or I got to use the bathroom real bad. Which one is it?
Casey Jansen sent me that exact picture 2 days ago. And
No, he probably saw it on my Twitter because I posted this picture.
Maybe. Do you know what, buddy? Maybe. And I actually know exactly what that is. My mortal enemy was the umpire, Greg Gibson.
Okay.
I had just thrown the best changeup for a strike I'd thrown in my career up to that point, and Greg Gibson called it a ball to Russell Martin with the Yankees. And then the next pitch, Russell Martin got a base hit up the middle. But that is the changeup. That was it was perfect. It should be like in a you teach a kid how to throw a changeup with video or something. That was it. It was perfect. He called it a ball. And by the way, Greg Gibson seemed to always screw me every time. But that's what that is. I was like, what? Strike 3 outs, we win.
And I got to tell you, credit to the photographer, because that's an amazing photo. Like, that's a great shot. There it is. How do you know? How do you remember this?
He's the worst in the business. He's the worst in it.
By the way,
there's my question. Could we give us the top 3 worst?
He's
in your opinion.
No, I mean, in my opinion, he's the worst. CB Buckner is terrible on the bases, was safe and out. And the best is Jim Wolf. I think Jim Wolf, he is top-notch, boy. Gosh, is he good. That guy locked in. That's all I got. I mean, I wouldn't recognize 90% of them.
You mentioned about all the thoughts that would go through your head on the mound. Would you, when you get to the ballpark, would you look to see who's umping behind the plate that day and thinking, if I'm on the mound today, at least I know this guy will call this pitch, or if this guy's behind the plate, I'm going to get screwed? Like, would that ever enter your mind? Would you almost adjust how you are going to pitch depending on who's behind the plate?
Would I just know? And I got to throw Angel Hernandez in there too. He is. Oh yeah. He's ho, right?
Yeah.
But no, not really, Barry. But it would get in my head like, oh my God, Angel Hernandez is he's behind the plate Friday night at Fenway. Please don't put me in. Please, I would just think the worst. I would think like automatically I'm gonna go 2 grand slams or something.
All right.
When you get done with a pitch like this, is your next pitch, is it delivered quicker or longer than normal? What's your process of getting through, like, kind of getting shafted on a pitch like this? Are you able to just shake it off right away, or is there a process that you go through?
What's the situation? That's the Yankees, right? So that's Russell Martin hitting. If Tony Pena is coaching first, Tony Pena used to whistle from first because he would peek in on the catchers. And when we would be mid delivery, he would whistle, which meant, I don't know, off speed, or it meant something. Me and Downs, we would joke about that. That's how it's so bizarre. You think it's like Little League. It's like Little League. The coach is whistling in the middle of your delivery to relay to Alex Rodriguez, who's wearing Oakleys, who's peeking at the signs anyways, with Robinson Cano at second, who's relaying the signs from what?
Next thing you know, they're going to start banging on garbage cans.
Oh my, right, dude? How about
All right. I think we're ready for the next photo. Okay. So here you are with Benji Molina. So I'm looking at this photo phrase, and I'm thinking that you're looking at Benji going, no. It's just below your right eye. Just you can get it. It's like a little booger hanging down there. Can you grab it?
Man, it would help if you could tell what stadium it was. Obviously, it's not in Toronto, but
No. And those uniforms were horrendous, by the way. I hated that logo. Everything about that uni was bad.
everything. Somebody made a really good decision bringing back the old school stuff.
So here you are. I mean, you're chatting with Benji Molina, wasn't it? Who was
that is Jose Molina.
That's Jose Molina. There are a couple of Molinas caught for the Jays, but what was your relationship like with a catcher during a game? And again, we talked to Tolley, and he talked about certain pitchers, such as a Dickey. I've heard about Roy Halladay as well, where if you're the catcher, you don't go to the mound unless the pitcher says, "Come to the mound." How are you with catchers coming out to see you? Are you cool with it?
Yeah, come. I don't care. What do I care? Yeah, I mean that's like. I mean, Halladay was different, right? I mean, Kevin Cash is gonna go out there, and Halladay is gonna be like, what are you doing? Like, get out of here. Yeah. Just put the right finger down, right? But I mean, if Jose wants to come out, I don't care. I don't care. You got. Salvador Perez would come out and he would say, Frasor, changeup way more better than slider. I say, all right, well then let's stop putting the number 3 down. Let's just let's just wiggle the fingers and throw the changeup. He's okay, good idea. Way more better. He'd always say way more better. All right, it's cool. I mean, let's get this right. I mean, there's a lot of money at stake. There's people watching this. It's on TV. Let's not try not to be too cool. Let's get it right. You want to talk? Let's talk.
Were you a big shake-off guy? You ever have a catcher you just had to pull out and be like, listen, my changeup feels terrible today. Stop calling it.
I'm a big catcher guy, right? So if that guy's catching, Jose Molina, life is good. If Rod Barajas is catching, I know that no one's going to score. If Zahn is catching,
okay.
Saying, what I'm saying?
Not a big fan of the Zahn.
Well, I've had better. I've had better.
How do you not let that affect your game?
It did. Oh my God, this guy's, and then when he puts a finger down, you second guess it. Oh my God, he's calling for a slider. Should I just throw the opposite because I know he's probably wrong? And sometimes you just get lucky, and when you're good, and everything's going great. But when it's going bad, I would second guess everything.
Did you have trouble leaving the shit from the field at the field?
Yes.
Were you able to get home and
no,
and see Laura and see the family and not
sleep? Nope. And it's amazing that guys can do that. I think even when I was in year 2, 3, 4, 5, I was still always amazed that I was there. I can't believe I'm in the big leagues. And I just wanted to do so well. When I didn't, it just ate me up, man. You feel like I felt like I let everybody down. And in essence, all I did was give up a run, but it was the end of the world. It felt like the end of the world. Isn't it funny? Baseball pitchers. And you wouldn't believe, I don't know if I'm a lot of dudes are like me. It's just.
The thing that jumps to my mind when you speak like that is, the very nature of pitching. You talk, and we talk to pitchers all the time on the show that say that sometimes their best feeling days, the days when the ball's flying out of their hand, when they do everything right, when they spot everything perfectly, they still get knocked out of the park. And, is there an element to that? Like, did you have days going home where you were like, okay, I knew I threw this pitch and that was bad? Was that easier to handle than those days where, like, I didn't think I could have thrown any better, and I just got teed up.
Before I matured, even if I did everything right and I got beat, I would kill myself, right? I would just not sleep or just lie in bed and stare at the ceiling. But as I got older, somebody told me something amazing, and I'll never forget it. And it was a former pitcher who had been in a locker room when a veteran pitcher got their 10th year. So that day he had got his 10th year in the major leagues. And this pitcher went up to him and was like, oh, congratulations. That's unbelievable. And he said, so you got 10 years. Like, how did you do it? What did you learn? What can you teach me since I just got here? And he says, you know what? There are days where I've been out there and I've thrown the perfect pitch with the perfect mechanics, did the scouting report, did everything, and the guy still blasted it over the fence or in the gap. And then sometimes I make the worst pitch ever, and the guy pops up to the second baseman or swings through it for strike 3. And he's like, the point is, once I release the ball and the ball gets to 30 feet, which is halfway, whoever wants it more wins. Whoever wants it more wins when the ball gets halfway. And I thought that was fantastic because I get it. I understand what he's saying.
I love that.
Isn't that cool? And I never heard that until I retired. But I love it. And I tell it to my 10-year-old little leaguers.
That's wild. All right, Phrase, this next photo, I'd never seen it before until today, and I think it's hilarious. So, what in the world? There you are wearing a Denny Echeverria's jersey on what looks like photo day in spring training. Do you remember this?
Is that photoshopped?
No, I don't think so. Why? You have no recollection? That's an official photo. And that's you wearing an Adechi Echeverria jersey.
That's photoshopped.
Photoshopped. Oh, man, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed.
This interview with him talking about stealing uniforms.
Right. Well, let's just hope you stole the right uniforms. Right? Was there ever, hey, listen, I mean, you've had some pretty amazing teammates over the years.
Yeah.
Was there ever a teammate you had where you went, I want this dude's jersey?
I
want his jersey. He's not going to miss it, right? He's got a bunch of these, and no one will know it's me. I'll just throw it in my shopping bag and, with a couple of beers and off.
I would never steal a teammate. You would just ask Moose or Jeff Ross, hey, can you have Doc sign a jersey for me? You can get in big trouble if you start going into lockers and stealing stuff.
Well, I would think so. But I mean, you went and stole this one for me, so I figured, you were just that kind of guy.
And I don't even remember that. I don't know.
All right, Phrase, in a couple of minutes, we're going to invite our two lucky listeners in to ask you questions. But I've got one more photo, and this one is not funny. This is a nice
real picture.
What's that?
Is that a real picture?
I don't know. It was on Google, and
really,
Al Alami. That's like a photo company, right? So you actually have no recollection of doing this. If this is real,
nope.
Okay, maybe you just grabbed the wrong jersey by mistake.
Just found out almost a decade later that one day in the spring he grabbed the wrong jersey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one you should know and you should remember. I love this photo. What a beautiful, beautiful family. And for those of us that know you, know how you met your wonderful wife. Do you have any? Would you like to share how you met? How you met Laura?
We both had the same employer. She used to be one of the girls that would dance in center field. Pregame and postgame, and she was a J Crew.
Yeah, J Crew. Yeah.
Yeah, she was like 19 at the time, and I was a rookie, so 25. And
Like, do you?
that's how we met. She was in college, and I had just got to Toronto.
Now, as a pro ball player, I mean, you always think of the players all in a circle, right? And you either marry your high school sweetheart or somebody that's part of the circle. When you see Laura for the first time, like, are you smitten? Are you like head over heels going, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
this shall be my wife"? Oh yes, one day.
Hey, she's pretty hot in that picture. I mean, you take like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years off that.
Where is she? Is she home? Is she home right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should call her over to say hello. And it introduces to your two lovely children too, and the pooch.
Yeah. God rest his soul. God
Yeah,
rest his soul.
that was-
We got his. He's been reincarnated with the new terrible dog, Chocolate.
Oh, nice.
Yep, that's Jack Baby on the left and Cammy on the right.
How old are they now?
We got 10 and 7, soon to be 8.
Oh my God.
Isn't it amazing? Gosh, what happened?
What?
And that
I'm
dog,
sure-
dog right there in the middle, he was Canadian. He lived to be 13. Unbelievable dog.
I remember him at the ballpark. If I'm not mistaken, you'd have him on the field sometimes.
Wait a minute, Newmarket or Barrie?
Yeah.
Somewhere up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people are listening tonight, Barry?
Well,
Is this live or tape?
no, this is taped.
This is taped.
This will be going out. This will be going because I know you're very ratings conscious, aren't you?
You know what? I was just talking to Laura, beautiful girl right there, and like on a good night, buddy. How do you know? Is there a meter or something you can figure out how many people listen?
Yeah, you can. But the algorithms are all messed up, so it's really hard to tell any given day. But the videos that we put up, I mean, in the thousands, and with someone like you, well, could be,
Oh, it's going to be
could be
thousands and thousands.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we're done the picture portion of this program. Now we're going to invite our two lucky listeners in, and I guess they're viewers as well. So we are going to meet here Fiona, and actually Susan is going to come as a pair because Susan's with her husband, John. So hopefully you'll see John and Susan. But Fiona is there right now. So Fiona, you can say hello to Jason and ask away. Oh, hang on, you're still on mute, Fiona. Let's get some audio from you. It's coming. All right, there we go. We got audio from Fiona.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Fiona?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome.
I'm just wondering, is there any particular players when they came up to the plate you thought, oh, good Lord, I really want to face this batter tonight?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I believe Ichiro was 8 for 9. Hideki Matsui also. At one point he was 6 for 8. They killed me. Torrey Hunter scared the bejesus out of me. I always felt like he was gonna line it back off my face every time.
Wow.
It just didn't look right. It was like, because I'm a fastball guy and he kills fast. Oh, so it just felt like I throw it and then I got a duck, Wait a minute. You know what? And this is pretty lame, but I didn't do very good at Yankee Stadium in general. I mean, facing those, I just didn't do well at Yankee Stadium. I felt like I did pretty good at Fenway, Yankee Stadium. Those guys were good, man. Those guys were good, and Yankees killed me. They killed me.
What park was your favorite one to pitch out of, or maybe the one you had the most success from?
The most success, Camden. Baltimore was fantastic. Favorite mound is Toronto. Favorite mound, like the actual mound.
Pat Henkin always said that. Always talked about the mound being the best mound he ever pitched on. What is it about? What was it?
Felt higher. Maybe
Really?
even a little closer, a little higher. It did. And he's right. And I think I've had this conversation with him. Some feel, there's always a different feel. It depends on the perception of the backstop. But Baltimore, awesome. Baltimore's awesome.
All right. Did you have anything else, Fiona? Okay, that's great. Fiona, thank you very much. Susan is joining us now. Susan, is John there too?
He's on a phone call right now.
Oh, tell him to get off the phone. Jason Frasor's here.
Anyways,
he'll be back, I'm sure.
Jason, Susan, a long-time Blue Jays fan
and season ticket holder, always is a staple at spring training. So you probably signed stuff for her before at some point.
I actually met you at a Blue Jays fan club event long ago in Toronto, and you were really great to chat with then, and I'm
may have him confused with somebody else, Sue.
No, he was great. But I must say, I'm a big bling fan. I love the ring. Can you show it again?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Susan,
my question
on the inside, it says, wait, I'll read it to you. It says the Royals beat the Astros 3-2. Then they beat the Blue Jays 4-2. That's my favorite one. And then the Mets 4-1. It's hard to see, but
oh wow.
Yeah, there's all kinds of
action
on the inside, Barry.
I see it.
That's fabulous. Thank you for that. I just wondered if you had any special or particular memories of Roy Halladay.
You know what's funny? 2004 to 2009, so 6 seasons we were teammates.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I never had one conversation.
Really?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Now, was that a personal thing, or was just Doc not a guy that had a lot of conversations with people?
It was that, and then it was also
quiet, focused.
Well, I mean,
he didn't like short people. Let's just put it bluntly. He didn't like you because you're short.
He wouldn't like me then.
Wow.
Unless
see us.
Listen, unless he was maybe disciplining me, and he did that one time because I had a really bad inning, and then I got taken out, and I went up to the clubhouse for a second to throw my glove, and he went up there to get me and bring me back and tell me I better watch the rest of the inning and support the next pitcher. That's fine, and I totally believe in that. But this guy, if to like be in the clubhouse and to interact and sit at your lock, it was a waste of his time. So either he was making a protein shake, he was watching film, he was going for a run, he was studying the umpires, and that's why he was the best pitcher of our generation. That guy was locked in. He was locked in. So if I have a memory, gosh, I think I sat at his table one time at the gala, but they're really, every 5 days watching him pitch, that was the best. Because I could have an extra Corona the night before because he was going 8 or 9.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. He was the best. He was the best. I have nothing bad to say about him. He was just the best.
And how about John Gibbons? How did you get on with Gibby?
I didn't. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge
Really? You guys didn't get along, eh?
Nah.
Oh, dear.
What was it? Was it a philosophy thing? Was it a personal thing? What was it?
I mean,
go on, let it out. It's a safe spot. This is your rehab.
There's no judgment here.
I mean, he's a good man. He's a nice man. I mean, he should be. I don't know. Should he be the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays? I didn't think so. I mean, how many times can you fill out the lineup card wrong and get a player in trouble? Right? I mean, did he even speak English? I don't even know if he spoke English. What was it?
All right. Who did you like, Fraze? Who was your favorite manager?
I like Ned Yost. I like Ron Washington.
Oh, Washington was the best.
I mean, he's got demons, but
Well,
I enjoyed him.
Yeah.
I thought he was great. He called me Josh, and that's okay.
He called you Josh.
Sure did.
You know, before we leave, I shared this story probably once before, but I think it's one of the funniest things was Brian Gerolman in his very first camp. And Sue and Fiona, I don't know if you heard this, but his very first camp, and you know, he was a longtime minor league catcher with the Blue Jays. He gets invited to big league camp for the first time. He's going through the clubhouse and he's seeing all these big names. I want to say Frank Thomas was probably there, whatever. And he has a question about where to get his gear. So he decides he wants to ask the first clubby he sees. Unfortunately, the first clubby he sees was not a clubby. It was actually you, Jason. And he thought you were a clubby asking you a question about his gear. Now, I would take that as a compliment because you just look so damn young.
Just like Chief. Remember Chief Kritzer?
Yeah.
I could have been Chief. Just, boyish good looks. You know what I'm saying?
I suppose so. I suppose so.
I suppose so. You know what? That's the second time you've told me that story, and I don't remember that. And I really like Brian Gerolman as a guy, and he's a really good catcher. Couldn't hit though, but anyway,
he's almost a neighbor of yours. You should go and catch up with him.
Where is he?
He's in Florida.
All right, he's around the what? He's around the.
Everybody in Florida knows each other. Do you? Before we go, are there certain guys that you played with over your career that you still have contact with? You still see, you still hear, you still chat with?
Listen, if you need material, I got a guy that'll give you enough material to you'll coast right in to look at that thing. My gosh.
That's Frankie. He's a big boy.
Listen, you call Jesse Carlson. This guy's got material.
Oh, I forgot all about Jesse Carlson.
He's got material for you.
Okay, you tell Carlson that we want him on this show.
He'll come on.
Anyhow, big thank you to Jason Frasor for joining us. Want to remind all of you that are listening and watching that we'll be speaking with Dalton Pompey on next week's show. That's already been recorded, so we're like a week ahead if you're getting confused. But we will be doing a Zoom this coming week with Michael Saunders. So if you'd like to get involved, Tom, tell our viewers and listeners once again how they can be a part of this incredible thing, sitting in this Zoom room and being able to engage in these players.
Patreon.com/out of the park. And, $3 a month, $5 a month, whatever you'd like. And you can be a part of, a whole bunch of extra specials that we've got out, added content that non-members don't get to see. And, the big cherry on top is the ability to sit in on these conversations and to take part and ask the players that you want to, the questions that you want to ask.
All right. Well, there you go. I can tell you that if I was going to list my favorite co-host of all time, there's you, there's Matt. Well, today, okay, my favorite co-host of all time that I'm working with right now is you. Yes. All right, we nailed it.
First time I've ever been anyone's favorite.
Yes. And like John Gibbons, you too are a nice man. Tom, thank you so much. And all of you, thank you so much for making us a part of your week.
You've been listening to Out of the Park with Barry Davis. Thanks for joining us. Get home safely and see you next time.